Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada Guru Maharaj, and all glories to all the devotees who have joined today. Oops. I will share my screen, Guru Maharaj. My internet is little bit slow, Guru Maharaj, so it might little bit slow. For some reason, I'm experiencing some issues. You can see my screen.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, you're on mute, Guru Maharaj.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
Yeah, I need to speak with you maybe right after our session today, so I'll call you
Yes, Guru
on
Maharaj.
your email, on your WhatsApp. It's about the up and coming programs. There's some adjustments that need to be made.
Sure, Guru Maharaj.
Okay. All right, for the class today, Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shraddha Visheshata Prati Sri Murti Angri Sevane. Translation: with love and full faith, one should worship the lotus feet of the deity. Purport: this verse and the following two verses are found in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Shriman Bhagavatam Tartanam Avaso Rasikai Saha Sajajisya Yasaye Snigde Sadho Sangas Vato Vare. Translation: one should taste the meaning of Srimad Bhagavatam in the association of pure devotees. And one should associate with the devotees who are more advanced than oneself and who are endowed with a similar type of affection for the Lord. The word satyati yase snignasada sado sangha svato vare are very important. One should not associate with professional Bhagavatam reciters. A professional Bhagavatam reciter is one who is not in a disciplic succession or who one has no taste for Bhakti Yoga. Simply on the strength of grammatical knowledge and word jugglery, professional reciters maintain their bodies and their desires for sense gratification by reading Srimad Bhagavatam. One should also avoid those who are averse to Lord Vishnu and his devotees, those who are Mayavadis, those who offend the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra, or those who simply dress as a Vaishnava or so-called Goswamis, and those who make a business by selling Vedic mantras and reciting Srimad Bhagavatam to maintain their families. One should not try to understand Srimad Bhagavatam from such materialistic people. According to Vedic injunctions, Yasya Devi Para Bhakti, the Srimad Bhagavatam can be recited only by one who has unflinching faith in the lotus feet of Krishna and his devotee, the spiritual master. One should try to understand Srimad Bhagavatam from the spiritual master. The Vedic literature states, Bhaktya Bhagavatam Rayam Navudaya Nacha Tikaya. One has to understand Srimad Bhagavatam to the process of devotional service and by hearing the recitation of a pure devotee. These are the injunctions of the Vedic literature, Shruti and Smriti. Those who are not in disciplic succession, who are not pure devotees, cannot understand the real mysterious objective of Srimad Bhagavatam and Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Om Gyan Timirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chaksun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutalaya Srimakti Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pacharine Nirvisesa Sunyavari Pastyatya Desatarine Vanchakalpatu Vischa Kripasindupe Vachapatitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, there's always a class of people, and you'll find that it'll always be like that, who like to take advantage of spiritual activities and spiritual literatures to make some personal profit from it. Because they know people are interested, they'll take advantage of this interested item, subject, scripture, or activity, and resell it back in the form of some new way or different way of understanding. This goes on because this is the age of Kali, and the age of Kali means there is so much hypocrisy. Hypocrisy means that one presents themselves as being something that they're not in order to get some gain from that presentation. So we find this is quite common in Kali Yuga. As Srila Prabhupada said, there are, this was when Prabhupada was here, there were 666 versions of the Bhagavad Gita. And that's when Prabhupada was here. We have no doubt that that number has climbed considerably since Prabhupada left. So people will take advantage and try to make some profit on something that people are interested in already and redesign it in a new way or a different way and consider themselves to be some kind of proponent or some kind of expert in the subject matter. And they do that with scriptures. They do that with so many things. But when they do it with scriptures, they find that what they present has no real validity because scripture is what it is. It cannot be presented by someone who is not a devotee of that scripture. One has to be practicing the tenets of Srimad Bhagavatam and also to be able to explain Bhagavatam from that realization in practice and that knowledge that comes by reading and hearing. Otherwise, it's all pretense or cheating, really. Therefore, one of the verses in the Bhagavatam says, Dharma projito kaitavo parama nimatsarana satam. That Dharma, karma dharma, kaitavo projito. Projito, kaitavo means cheating and projito means to kick out. So Dharma, Bhagavatam kicks out all kinds of forms of cheating religion that goes on in the name of Dharma and establishes real Dharma. When Krishna left the planet, there was a concern, how will religious principles be maintained? And then the answer came in Bhagavatam itself, that Bhagavatam is the incarnation of Krishna in this age. And Krishna is incarnated in Bhagavatam and he's incarnated in his holy name. Both are manifestations of the full power of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in this explanation, that one who approaches Bhagavatam is approaching Krishna directly. And therefore, one cannot present Krishna in any way other than how he is to be presented. And otherwise, it becomes pretense, cheating, and various other forms of personal, selfish interest. And therefore, Bhagavatam, they don't have the real Bhagavatam, although they can recite the verses and maybe even requote the verses and become very expert at speaking these things. It is all a show. When Lord Balaram was traveling through the different holy places, he came across a gathering of sages. And this was at Namisharanya. The sages had just finished a ceremony where they elected Romaharshan Sutta to be the spokesman amongst all of the sages for the recitation and discussion of Srimad Bhagavatam. When Balaram appeared, all of the sages, and there were many, there were thousands of them, they immediately stood up and with folded hands welcomed Lord Balaram and took all the arrangements to honor him in his appearance. But one person didn't do anything, and that was Romaharshan Sutta. He was sitting in the seat of honor, and when Balaram came in, he didn't respond in any way. He kept just sitting there. Balaram immediately noted him and said, and made a comment that just like an actor performs a particular act in order to impress the audience, but the actor is not the person, he's just playing a part of a particular person in a dramatic performance. So Balaram said that his knowledge of Bhagavatam, referring to Romaharshan Sutta, is like an actor reciting his lines in a dramatic performance. In other words, he has no knowledge of Bhagavatam. And then Balaram, he gets right to the point, and he decided to relieve Romahar Sutta of his false ego. So he took a piece of kusa grass and he hit Balaram, he hit Romaharshan Sutta, and immediately Romaharshan Sutta lost his life. The sages were aghast. They had just elected him and now he was gone. And so they start praying to Balaram, and Balaram said, "Oh, you want me to bring him back?" No, we don't want you to do anything that you don't want to do. But now we are without someone to preside over our meeting. And as Balaram said, actually the son is the representative of the father. And so immediately they elected Sutta Goswami as the presiding sage over the meeting at Namisharanya. But the point is that although he was in that position, he didn't know what it meant to be in that position, nor did he have the knowledge. And because if the Supreme Personality of Godhead appears in person and doesn't get greeted or respected, then that person doesn't know anything about religious life. And Balaram made that point. Not that he wanted to be worshipped, but he wanted to show what is real religious principles. So Bhagavatam is Krishna himself, and it's appeared in the beginning of the age of Kali, because as soon as Krishna left the planet, the age of Kali began. And the age of Kali will continue to get more and more worse. Devotees should understand that what's happening in the world now is just a small, small invitation to what's going to happen in the future. Things are going to get very dark in this world. So therefore, we have strength. Where do we have strength? We have strength in association with devotees, chanting the holy names, and living and reciting Srimad Bhagavatam, because Bhagavatam is the best of all spiritual scriptures anywhere and everywhere. The original Bhagavatam, or you might say Bhagavatam, is unlimited. We have 18,000 verses in our particular edition. But in the heavenly planets, as mentioned by Srila Jiva Goswami in his Tattva Sandarbha, Bhagavatam has 1 billion verses. That's in the heavenly realms. Now, beyond that, Bhagavatam itself has unlimited amounts. Because Bhagavatam is Krishna, and Krishna is never limited in any sense of the word. And so Bhagavatam is the best. To hear every day Bhagavatam, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, Bhagavati Uttama Sloke, Bhaktya Bhagavati Naistaki. Nasta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata. Every day one should hear, recite, and of course, hearing means reading, hearing means hearing. Every day Srimad Bhagavatam, because this injection of this spiritual knowledge is so powerful and so potent. And as Srila Prabhupada said, everything that you need to know and more is found in Srimad Bhagavatam. And Prabhupada went on to clarify that by saying every subject matter that is available to the people of the world is found in Srimad Bhagavatam and even beyond that. The Bhagavatam is called Amalam Purana. Amalam means pure. It is the pure of all the Puranas. There are 18 Puranas, 6 in the mode of goodness, 6 in the mode of passion, 6 in the mode of ignorance. And then there is the Amalam Purana. That is Srimad Bhagavatam, which is not within the modes of either of the 3 modes of material nature. It is transcendental, pure, Krishna himself, and as presented by Srila Prabhupada, who is a self-realized soul, whose knowledge of transcendental literature is complete and unlimited, has presented Bhagavatam according to the ability of the Western mentality to assimilate and to understand. The Bhagavatam is such a powerful scripture. If we don't read Bhagavatam every day, we are doing ourselves a great injustice as devotees. In fact, a devotee will not only want to read Bhagavatam or hear Bhagavatam daily, but they would also like to study Bhagavatam. Therefore, we recommend devotees do a study of Srimad Bhagavatam. And there has been, and there is many, not many, but a few study programs centered around Srimad Bhagavatam. One by, what's his name, Gauranga Darshana from GEV, Govardhan Echo Village in India. He has taken each one of the cantos and has finished 9 cantos of a very detailed and very graphic explanation of the different facets and features of Bhagavatam, which is meant for study and also meant for those who want to present Bhagavatam in a discussion type of atmosphere or giving a class. So Bhagavatam is the best. It's called Paramahansa Samhita. That means it's meant for the most topmost of all personalities in spiritual life. But because of Srila Prabhupada's compassion and mercy, he has made that impossible literature to understand available through the Bhaktivedanta purports. Without those Bhaktivedanta purports, we will become confused, or we won't be able to understand. Because Bhaktivinoda Thakur in the year 1869 gave a speech called the Bhagavad. In that speech, which is about quite a lengthy speech, in its printed form, it's about 40 or 50 pages long. In that speech, he describes the history of how people failed to understood Bhagavatam and relegated to a very lesser form of importance in spiritual life. And therefore, he explained how one should approach Srimad Bhagavatam, and that Bhagavatam is non-different than Krishna. In order to illustrate this non-difference in a very waking reality, what we do is we take the Srimad Bhagavatam book and we put it onto the altar and we put a garland around the book. Many of the temples around the world have Bhagavatam on the altar with garlands on. Some have just the Bhagavatam there without garlands, but in any case, it's worshipable. It's non-different. It should be seen that way. It's not that we get a set of Bhagavatams and we put it nicely in our shelves. We make sure we dust it off every 6 months, and then we look at it and say, oh, so nice, it looks so nice. But we don't open the book, nor do we see the benefit of reading and hearing Bhagavatam. So Bhagavatam is the best. We can't really glorify Srimad Bhagavatam enough. Bhagavatam itself glorifies itself in many of the verses within the Bhagavatam, and it's free from artha, kama, dhamma, and moksha. What means that there are called 4 purusharthas. Purushartha means the ways of people in the world. And these are 4 activities: dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Dharma means pious activities. People perform pious activities and they get artha. From that, artha means the opportunity for developing economic gain. From that economic gain, they increase, and then gradually they get kama. Kama means to satisfy the senses. In other words, they get the facilities to have nice material things in this world. And ultimately, when kama reaches a certain point of saturation, then people want out, and that is called moksha, or liberation. So liberation is also one of the ways of the people in the world. They want to get out of the suffering of material life. But there is another purushartha, it's called purushartha siromani. Purushartha siromani means the love of God. So that love of God can be found within the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam, because Bhagavatam explains very systematically and manifests itself by describing Krishna and his different features in his different incarnations and how he interacts with and performs his pastimes, both in the material world and in the higher realms of material existence. It's interesting, all the different incarnations. It's worth a study. If you make Bhagavatam a study, you'll find you find that you found something in life now that you can really be enthusiastic and always eager to engage in more and more. Bhagavatam is so attractive and so interesting. There's nothing like this philosophy anywhere in the 3 worlds. Therefore, if we study Bhagavatam, read it, hear it, and ultimately preach it, then our Krishna consciousness will never have any impediments, because you'll always be aware of exactly everything that is needed in your devotional service. And you're also equipped fully with all of the knowledge you need to accept and deal with reverses and difficulties in life. All that knowledge is available in Srimad Bhagavatam and more. So, and it also says here, one should associate with devotees who are more advanced than oneself. And one of the ways to associate with devotees who are more advanced is to go and hear these discourses on Srimad Bhagavatam. All of our temples around the world every morning have the Srimad Bhagavatam class. So that is fundamental and foundational to the morning program. And you'll find that there are so many qualified speakers in our movement that can take a verse and explain it in so many interesting ways, and also at the same time keep the essential meaning of the verse. So, as Prabhupada said, this knowledge can be approached from different angles of vision, and at the same time be still in line with the knowledge that it is presenting. In other words, it could be in line with the Siddhanta also, or the goal. So we cannot emphasize the glories and the importance of Srimad Bhagavatam enough. It is the best of all religious scriptures. When Prabhupada was on a morning walk with one professor from Germany, Professor Durkheim, Professor Durkheim seemed to be very open and friendly, and Prabhupada seemed to resonate nicely, and they were really discussing in a very friendly way different philosophical teachings. At one point, Srila Prabhupada said, he started talking about Bhagavatam, and then he got into it, and he said, Srimad Bhagavatam has 18,000 verses, and it takes 1 month to understand each verse. He was emphasizing how deep this knowledge is. And so Prabhupada turned to one of his devotees and asked, well, how long is that? 18,000 verses, 1 month for each verse. One devotee was quite good at mathematics, and he said, that's 1,500 years, Prabhupada. Prabhupada immediately responded, you have enough to study. So we cannot even begin to exhaust the knowledge that is there. And it's understood, and this is the dynamic of spiritual literature, is that each time you read, you get something more. It's not that you read and then you know it. You may read it very carefully, but you'll see, and this is an experience all devotees have, when they reread it, it's like reading it for the first time. Because this knowledge is not, it's dynamic, it continues to reveal itself. As the devotee makes advancement, his consciousness expands and his ability to understand deeper knowledge, or to be able to not understand, but to become noticeable or aware of the finer points of the knowledge each time that knowledge is presented. Well, that is Bhagavatam. It's not limited. Material knowledge in any category, you can read it, you can reread it, you get to a certain point where everything is understood, there's nothing else. That is material. Material means limited. The Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, or any transcendental literature is unlimitedly full of meaning and knowledge. Okay, so we'll stop there and see if there's any discussion. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj, for always, explaining us the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam, and it's always very nice, very good to remember that Srimad Bhagavatam is not different than Krishna. So thank you so much, Guru Maharaj. Devotees, if you have any questions, comments, realizations, I'm sure you all must be reading or have already read Srimad Bhagavatam. So you must have questions about it. So please unmute yourself and ask. And it will be nice to, to take your darshan. So if you can show yourself and keep your camera on, please. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Yes, go on, Radha Vinodi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. Our glories to Srila Prabhupada and our glories to you. I'm sorry I was a little bit late from the beginning of the class, so I might have missed something, but the verse mentioned that we should seek for the association of those who have similar type of affection for the Lord, and what it means, actually.
Well, when you get married or when you develop friendship, you look for that. Similar natures, similar likings. So in association also, we find that there are varieties of devotees and varieties of moods. So find that mood and that nature that you can resonate with. An example would be maybe some people that really love to hear Krishna's pastimes in Sri Vrindavan Dham with the cowherd boys. And others would like to hear Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan Dham with the gopis. Or someone would like to hear Krishna's pastime as Nrsingadev. So the different varieties, different tastes, different natures, different moods. So it becomes spiritually sweeter when we associate with people who have that similar mood. And then that mood expands itself more and more in that association. And we use these two principles also for any kind of association, especially marriage. They say marriage should be with similar likings, similar nature. Same with friendship, similar nature, similar likings.
Thank you very much. It really makes sense. I wasn't sure that there are different. So it means that within the devotees, we should, how to say, maybe not the best word, but discriminate, or it means that like other sampradayas or like that. So thank you for confirmation.
Yeah, seek out that association that you can really resonate with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really works. I can understand, because I remember I had, for example, experiences when we had a counselor meeting, and there was this part when we shared our experiences in the few weeks, what is inspired us, and I had this experience when I shared something which inspired me, and everybody was just looking back at me with no real feelings or reactions, and it really feels bad when we feel that someone doesn't really understand what inspires me, or maybe I don't understand what inspires her or him. So yeah, I can understand that this really works.
Yeah, it's like that. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. It's just our nature to gravitate towards those who we can resonate with in relationships. It's just, that's our nature. We may accept other associations for the sake of carrying on activities. We really relish those associations that are similar in nature and mood. Yes, Raj.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to yourself, Maharaj. Maharaj, I'm in this weekly Sangha where we try and take one chapter of Bhagavatam each week, and we try and read and study as much as possible ourselves, and then come together for discussion, questions, answers. And I wanted to ask you a question. Do you recommend any commentaries or study guides that might help me?
Yeah. Yeah, there's Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has done a whole complete commentary on the entire Srimad Bhagavatam, which is called, well, he's done the 10th canto, which is called Sarartha Darshini. That's the 10th canto. But he's done the whole Bhagavatam. Jiva Goswami has also done commentaries. Practically speaking, from more or less on our level, again, we have, I mentioned Gauranga Darshana from GEV. He has put out these different manuals, taking usually one canto at a time and breaking it down into all its finer elements of knowledge and reference. That is something I use for my classes. VIHE, MI, Mayapur Institute and Vrindavan Institute have study guides which they use for presenting Srimad Bhagavatam with questions, discussions, various aspects of how to approach Bhagavatam from different angles. And there's a lot out there.
Okay, that's very helpful. Thank you, Maharaj.
Yeah, you're doing one chapter a week?
Yes.
That's a lot.
Yes, it's heavy going. There's a lot to read in 1 week. But
Yeah,
really nice.
It seems, I think it would be more effective if they did like one verse a week instead of one chapter a week.
That would be my preference, but I joined, like, they were on Canto 1, Chapter 6, and I just joined then. So, but I'm really enjoying it.
It's Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita?
Yeah. Bhagavatam.
Canto 6, what chapter are you doing?
At the moment, sorry, Canto 1, not Canto 6.
Oh, chapter 6, huh?
Yes, so at the moment
Canto
we're doing Lord Krishna's arrival in Dwaraka.
I don't know, I'm kind of unhappy to hear. It's nice you're studying, but it seems way too much than one chapter a week. Even one chapter a month. It's too much. It seems like they're just rushing to get through it. And how much can you do to read a whole chapter? It's nice if you want to read a whole chapter, but that's really a flimsy overview, or a very scanty overview. Bhagavatam needs to be understood more with more discussion and detail because it's so intricate. Anyway, sorry to be critical.
Try and find one. I might try and find another one or set up one that we can do.
Maybe you can make a suggestion that they, go from 5th gear down to 2nd gear, maybe in 1st gear.
I can suggest it, sure. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Sri Devi.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to you, Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much again for reminding us about the importance of reading Srimad Bhagavatam, studying Bhagavatam, understanding Bhagavatam. One particular line in this purport is a little hard for me to digest. It says over here, Srimad Bhagavatam can be recited only by one who has unflinching faith in the lotus feet of Krishna and his devotee, the spiritual master. So I have a couple of questions on this point. We are not there yet that we have unflinching faith in the Guru and in the lotus feet of the Lord. So how we can recite Srimad Bhagavatam or speak on Srimad Bhagavatam when we are not pure? And the second question on that point again is, we read over and over again that Krishna protects his pure devotee and takes care of his devotee. So we might think, I'm not a pure devotee. Why will Krishna take care of me? Or why will he bother with me? I'm too small. I'm just small fry. So what are your thoughts on these?
Let me see. The first question again was, I'm not a pure devotee, so how can I recite Bhagavatam?
Because it says one who has unflinching faith in the lotus feet of the Lord and unflinching faith in the spiritual master, only he can recite Srimad Bhagavatam. So
Yeah, so we make some compromise in order to give class. Otherwise, it would be Prabhupada's tape. It'd be Prabhupada's tape every day up there, and that's all.
okay, that's what I thought. How we can dare to then, even speak on this subject, because we are not so pure.
All you have to do is read Prabhupada's purports. His purports are the explanations on the verse, and try very carefully to repeat in your own words what you are reading from Srila Prabhupada's explanations. In your own words, you simply repeat what you hear from Srila Prabhupada, that's all. You also may quote Prabhupada.
Okay.
Yeah, remember when you're sitting on that seat, it's called Vyasasana.
Right.
It's the seat of Vyas.
Right.
That means you're representing the author of Bhagavatam when you're giving a class.
Right.
That's all, you are the representative.
Okay.
Well, the class is being given by your spiritual master, and you're simply taking that position to explain according to your level of understanding what you heard from your spiritual master.
Okay.
Yeah, but you should not become overwhelmed because you're not a pure devotee. You should think, oh, here's how to become a pure devotee. By continually repeating the pure devotee.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Thank you for.
And we need part of the idea of development is training, and training means to train by taking the position of the activity and just understanding according to your realization from what you heard and presenting it.
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
Yeah, you just do your best. Yeah, just don't concoct anything or try to become some new kind of speaker by coming up with your own ideas.
Right. Just faithfully
If you have
repeat.
realizations on the knowledge, you can also explain those realizations as long as those realizations are in line with the principles that you're explaining.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Thank you for clarifying that.
So you can keep giving class, yeah.
That's the relief. I'm thinking, how dare I give it class? Okay, thank you, Guru Maharaj. That's a big relief.
In fact, we want all the devotees to give class.
Right.
That's-
Srila Prabhupada
that's
said
the-
everyone
yeah.
should speak.
Everyone should speak. If you repeat, then you are in the best position to speak, that's all.
And the second part of my question, Guru Maharaj, please, if you don't mind.
We'll come back to that.
Okay.
Rishabdev, Rishabha, not Rishabdev, Rishabha.
Whatever pleases you, Maharaj.
Your name is Rishabha.
Rishabha. With an A?
Yeah, what's the name? Rishabha. Rishabha is the cow-haired boy. Rishab is the Supreme Personality of God who incarnated. So there's two different persons. You're the cow-haired boy. At least you're following in his footsteps anyway.
I hope so. I hope so. I'm a man. Thank you very much for these points, especially regarding the comment you gave to Prabhu about their readings. Some spiritual masters say that we should read the Srimad Bhagavatam as quick as possible, because just reading it through, you get lots of blessings. Because there are like lots of benefit, like lots of blessings in the way how you're reading it, these different chapters. And the other one is reading it thoroughly and just understanding each verse. So should we first maybe read all of it just to read it through and then go from, and go and study it, or any comment on that?
I think you should do both. There are devotees who have this program of reading 41 pages of Bhagavatam a day, which means if they continue to do that for 1 year, they finish the Bhagavatam. But we have to be careful not to just to read for the sake of reading, or read to finish. Read and think about what you read.
Because easily I read one purport and I can, think about this purport for 2 hours, and I was like, I didn't move much.
Good. It's not about quantity, it's about realizations that come by way of qualitative reading.
I guess the same points are right. Sorry.
Yeah, I give a seminar on the Bhagavatam, and so in that seminar there are many points about how we should understand what we're reading, and there's ways to approach that knowledge so the understanding becomes, available.
Is it on your SoundCloud?
I've given that seminar at least 3 or 4 times in different venues. It should be on. It should be there in the website. I'm not sure if it's on the SoundCloud.
I'll try to find it. Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Thanks everyone for asking good questions. Anyone else? Guru Maharaj, I would like to ask a question while we're waiting. I want to ask, when it says that, we should read Srimad Bhagavatam in the association of pure devotees. We are from like ISKCON South London, and we have a very small congregation, and our temple is basically open only on Sundays, and we're trying to open on Saturdays as well now. and we don't get much, many sannyasis visiting to our temple, and we don't get much of the association. Like we do have house programs where we try to do kirtan and reading. So is the listening on the YouTube and attending the sanghas on the YouTube, is that also counted, that getting the association when you listen to the classes on lectures on YouTube?
Depends, and make sure you hear within the context of ISKCON.
Yes.
If you go outside, you might hear things that are different or in contrary with what Srila Prabhupada says. You stay within the family.
Yes.
And that way, because we are trying to follow Srila Prabhupada, his presentation of the knowledge is our mood of understanding and practice.
Yes.
Prabhupada gave us everything. It's just a matter of unpacking it, discussing it, learning how to apply it.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, we try to listen to a manner like a Bhaktivedanta manner or a Soho classes, Srimad Bhagavatam classes every morning. And that's what the association we get with Srimad Bhagavatam like every day. And I sometimes feel...
That's nice. There are many really expert Bhagavatam speakers.
Yes.
Those who really can churn deeply the knowledge that in the scriptures.
Yes. Recently, there has been a podcast by Chaitanya Charan Prabhu and Amrendra Prabhu, and also Madhvendra Prabhu from Bhubaneswar. And that was on the Gopi Gate and many other subjects they have covered. And it was really nice covering Chaitanya Charitamrita and Srimad Bhagavatam. So it was so nice listening the whole podcast. And yeah, so that's what the association we get with the literatures and with all the scriptures.
We have a voluminous amount of knowledge available, and we have so many qualified devotees who can speak interesting and what we say very effectively on this knowledge. That is our qualification. And as a society, we are very Brahminical in terms of understanding and knowledge. And there's some devotees who are outstandingly knowledgeable.
Thank you. Radha Vinodni Mataji, you have a question?
Hare Krishna. I just you spoke about that we also should speak about Srimad Bhagavatam, and I really have a difficulty which I don't know at this point how to solve, because I realize that when I speak about Srimad Bhagavatam or anything else, it just becomes too much information. And somehow I realized that whenever I ask in the end of the class that if there is any question, nobody says anything. I think they just it's like a big shower on them, and difficult to catch any certain points. And do you have maybe any suggestions how I could change that? Because the goal would be to be able to give something to others, and this way is just not possible.
When you make a point, expand the point until you can exhaust everything you know on that point. Instead of referencing a point into another point, take that point and just expand it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, the spiritual master is the representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You just take that principle and expand it in so many different ways. don't try to cover so many different subjects within your talk, but take one or two which are in reference to the verse and just, go deeper and deeper into it.
Mhm. Yeah, I really have to learn that because somehow it's difficult for me. One part of the problem is that it's difficult for me to.
It's not difficult. It's not difficult. All you have to do is read and reread what you're speaking on, and every time you reread it, you will get more ideas automatically. I guarantee that. Just keep rereading it, and each time you'll see there's something else that you'll come up with each time you reread it.
Okay, thank you very much. I will try that because it would be really nice to do something better, of better quality. Thank you.
Okay, that's one way of preaching, learning how to take a point and just go into it and just churn the nectar on that one particular point.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, seems like we reached our 1 hour mark. So tomorrow the class is at 2 o'clock UK time. And the subject matter is Lord Chaitanya's mission. And it's in relationship to the devotees who are glorifying Srila Bhakti Tirtha Swami. Today is his actual day of birth. He was born on February 25th. So for 3 days, they're glorifying Bhakti Tirtha Swami, 25, 26, and 27. So there'll be different speakers. I'm one of them tomorrow. So I made my class aligned with that particular talk. So we'll be talking at 2 o'clock UK time tomorrow instead of noon. So it's 2 hours later. Shri
Thank you very much.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki.
Jai. Thank you, Guru Maharaj. I will share the link with the devotees today. Hare Krishna.
Okay, good. All right. So thank you very much. Have a wonderful day and read Srimad Bhagavatam.
Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Srila
Hare Krishna.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai. Thank you.